News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, would you look at that? The headline on the graphics there on the bottom screen for CNN a moment ago, they've been doing this one all night in all their shows. It said Trump plans to attack Biden's family. Biden prepares for Trump to attack attack Biden's family. In other words, Trump is going to attack Joe Biden's family all night. Yeah, he's going to attack not a Dr. Jill. Yes, he's going to attack Hunter's new wife. Yes, I mean, he obviously, when Joe Biden calls him a convicted felon, Joe, your son's a convicted felon, and you better watch out because that laptop is real. You were wrong, and your Justice Department is using the Hunter Biden laptop that you said was fake last time you and I debated. They're using that against your son, and it has emails on there about 10% for the big guy. So, Joe, your son's a convicted felon. He's got another trial where he has a good chance of being a convicted felon. And, Joe, you could be implicated in all this. So I would really be careful. That's what he better say. Other than that, he better not go farther than that. Do we all agree here? Yes. Okay. I want to play for you. We have Gary in Arlington. All right, let's take Gary's call first. In a moment, I'm going to play for you the fake news CNN, a 1-minute segment they did that I have the audio of. You're going to hear what it sounds like at the debate stage. They're on their real stage, the two anchors for fake news CNN. One's on the Biden side, one's on the Trump side, and they're talking and they're trying to interrupt each other, and they're muting the mics to show you and for you to hear what it sounds like. You're going to hear that in a moment. It's pretty fascinating. But I did promise real fast from the Washington Post today a stunning story, a stunning research revealed, a stunning poll revealed from the Washington Post, which hates Trump. Trump trusted more than Biden on democracy in key swing state voters. Biden and his Democratic allies have cast the re-election campaign as a battle for the country's survival, warning Trump would present an existential threat to American democracies. However, in 6 swing states that Biden narrowly won last time, more of them trust Trump to handle those threats than Biden. The results offer troubling indicators for Biden, the Post says. And here's the numbers. 38% of the 6 swing state voters that were polled by the Washington Post, 38% trust Trump to handle threats to democracy. And that is a 9-point advantage over Biden, who has 29% trusting Biden. So Trump has a 9-point advantage over Biden for trust. Who the swing voters in those 6 swing states think can handle democracy better? Trump over Biden, 9 points. How amazing is that? Isn't that incredible? Isn't that damning? So this is all the more reason why Donald Trump is his own worst enemy. He can ruin the debate. He can lose the debate tomorrow. He can lose the entire thing and throw his lead and throw it all away because they've forgotten about any warts in him, and they remember all the good. And if he does it right tomorrow, which means don't get obstreperous, don't get cantankerous, as our Trake said in the last segment, but instead of fighting and arguing, getting too nasty and personal, be calm. He's going to throw so much crap at you. And when he does, just respond, you know what? That was then. We know what it was, and it was not an insurrection, Joe. Yevgeny Prigozhin was an insurrection. He shot down a fighter jet and choppers and killed 8 or 9 Russian soldiers. Nobody was armed in there, and nobody was killed at the time this happened except for Ashley Babbitt. It was a terrible day, but everybody's focused on right now, and they're suffering, Joe, and that's what matters. And what I'm going to do for this country is take them out of your suffering that you've done to this country and the inflation and the wars and the chaos of this country and the nation and the suffering and the gas prices, and I'm going to make energy prices and gas prices better, Joe. All right, Gary in Arlington, you're on 820 AM. Or no, we have a new way of doing things now. Hi, Gary, WBAP. Hello.
Hey, Chris, how you doing tonight?
Good.
You know, I was calling about something else, but what you were just talking about with Trump getting kind of crazy, possibly getting crazy during the debate, what he needs to do is, like you say, he just needs to restrain himself, get out of the way, and let Biden talk himself into every other hole that, Biden will put himself in.
Right.
He's just, Biden's his own worst enemy when he can ad-lib. And so,
yes, when he ad-libs.
Trump can just kind of bait him here and there and stay calm.
Yes.
Let Biden, be the one that looks like an idiot.
Here's the problem, though, and you know this. Biden's whole plan is going to be getting nasty. In fact, what the CNN said tonight on their screen. This has been on Anderson Cooper's show on this lady. I don't even know who she is. I got a Fox on one screen and CNN on the other. It's kind of interesting contrast. But they've been saying on all the shows tonight that Trump is going to do personal attacks against Biden's family. It's Biden who's going to do personal attack against Trump, not his family, but against Trump. And he's doing it all to trigger him. That's why the DNC has billboards all over Atlanta. When he comes in tomorrow, he'll see that shows him as a convicted felon, and that's why they're trying to trigger him and have him freak out. He must not. And if he does get personal and he does relitigate the election of 2020, if he does relitigate January 6th beyond saying there were some things I didn't like about it, but and repivot and focus, he will lose. He will lose.
I think you're right. What Trump needs to do.
And by the way, real fast, we have to be honest tomorrow night after the debate. We're going to be talking live for a couple hours. And if he does that, we have to be honest about it. Anyways, Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Trump needs to take the high road and be the gentleman statesman and let Biden, show exactly what he is, an older gentleman who is having a hard time in life and probably doesn't remember what he had for dinner the day before. So, Trump, like I said, needs to just kind of take the high road and.
But listen, he can let it hang himself. Yes, and here's the thing.
Exactly.
He needs to also say, Joe. When he calls him convicted felon, here's the number one way to take him down on that. Watch this. He goes, "You're a convicted felon," and then Trump comes out and says, "You know what, Joe? You too would be a convicted felon, but the special counsel that your Justice Department picked said that you were too incompetent to stand trial, but that you did commit multiple felonies with your documents case. So, Joe, you would be convicted felon, but you're not competent to stand trial. That's why I need to be the president of this country."
I know a lot of Republican voters who don't like Donald Trump because he is brash and crass and all that kind of stuff. So if he would start putting on a different persona between now and the election, I think he'd win a lot more of those undecided kind of voters by taking up the mantle of being a president.
Well, here's the thing. He traditionally does not. And he will not. And that's why he lost last time, one of the big reasons. But I think he's shown some restraint overall, a lot more than before. Not enough, but a lot more overall. And I think that's because he realizes that this is it. He really wants to win, and he will lose if he doesn't do what he didn't do last time. Do you agree with that?
Well, I really think Trump will win. But the Democrat Party and all of their minions will once again steal the election like they did in 2020. So we're going to have 2020-2.
No, that attitude is how you lose, and I don't want that. I'm not going to try to change your thoughts on that. I'm just saying I strongly disagree. I think we need to win by enough of a margin where they can't cheat. Because literally, if he wins by more than 50,000 votes in a state, or 75,000 or plus in a state, you can't cheat beyond a certain number, 10, 20,000 if you're lucky.
I wouldn't put it past the Democrats to pull something off.
Well, you know what? If you win by enough, you will not be able to be cheated.
That's very true. But you got to also remember there were instances where they were saying the vote was being manipulated.
I know. None of that matters.
On
nobody,
the internet.
The average people, other than don't care. And honestly, I'm like, if we win by enough, we're gonna win. My attitude is I don't want to relitigate. I'm not trying to be negative on you. I personally going back. It's glazed over my eyes. I'm like, oh, I'm not mad at you.
No.
And I honestly, and look, I am rabidly in the tank for our president, for Trump, but it literally glazes over my eyes. Like somebody tweeted out something tonight. I'm not saying it's not correct either. I'm not disputing it. But somebody tweeted out tonight with Atlanta, breaking 2020 ballots. A couple thousand of them will be destroyed tonight, according to the Fulton County. Blah, blah, blah. I honestly, what am I going to do? Read that? Read the story? Get into it? For what? I mean, they cheat. They do, but
they do.
But it doesn't matter because we supposedly lost in Fulton. We lost by like 40,000 votes or something like that in 6 states. And right now Trump's leading by like 3 to 7%, depending on whose poll you look at in Georgia. You cannot cheat your way out of 3% or more. You just can't. I mean, what's Producer Garrett, would you look up the population of the state of Georgia? Just look it up, and I will just take a guess on the fly here. I'm not one of those wonky people that knows all this crap, but I could just do table back of the napkin math with you, and let's see. I'm going to guess there's like 9 million, 8 million. Let's see. About 8 to 9 million is my guess. Metro Atlanta is about between 6 to 7 million roughly is my guess, and then 10.91 million. Okay, so 10.91. So we'll just say 11 million. Do you really think that a 3% margin can be cheated? I mean, what's 3% of it? And not 11 million people aren't voting. It might be 6 or 7 million. I don't know with the children population and everything. I got non-voting population, but let's say it's 5 million or 4 million. Okay, I mean, do you really think you can cheat when you have 3% of what's 3% of 4 million? Garrett, do the math on that, would you? And I'm sorry, you're being thrown in a lot of things, but just do 3 times. $1.2 million. Okay, how do you cheat $1.2 million out?
That would be very hard to do, but let's remember.
You cannot cheat in one state.
We didn't think we had a problem in 2020, but we did.
Whoa. All the polls on these swing states showed Trump losing by like 5 points last time, and he's up right now. And there's none of them showing he's down. That doesn't mean he's going to win. And if we ride that train, we're going to ride it into the ground. We must always think Trey was right in the last segment when he said, one of our listeners who said that we must assume we're down now 10, 20 points is ridiculous. I think 10 points, down 5 to 10 points at least is a good way to go. And because we let any slack up, we're idiots, we lose. And then, but the most important thing of everything, I swear to you, and I think you agree with me, is his discipline. Mm-hmm. That's it.
No, very true.
Gary, it's been a wonderful call. I appreciate you humoring me and going back and forth with me. I appreciate you, brother. All right.
Good talking to you, Chris.
Good talking to you. Great caller. All right. We have lines wide open for the first time in an hour and 17 minutes. So call in right now. I'm going to introduce some more questions right now. If Trump gets nasty or interrupts, he loses. Do you want Trump to try to rattle Biden's cage tomorrow? Do you think Joe Biden should try to rattle Trump's cage? And he will, by the way. That's his whole plan because he has nothing to run on. And do you think he'll try to rattle Trump's cage and go after January 6th or stick to policy debates and calmness? We already know, per Biden people, that he's going to be going nuts on rattling Trump's cage and go after J6 and all this stuff and democracy. And all Trump has to do is respond, hey, Joe, Washington Post poll just came in yesterday. People trust me in all the swing states over you for democracy. They know the truth. You cannot hide it. Say what you want. But the American people have made up their mind. And that's kind of it. And then move on to your policies. Should Biden bring up convicted felon, January 6th insurrection? What should Trump's response be? And how do you think Trump should handle Jake Tapper? There was a story I read in the Wall Street Journal saying they're going to be probably playing, Jake Tapper's probably going to play a video of the January 6th riot in the Capitol, show it to Trump and see what he says about it. And show the video where officers are getting attacked and calling J6er, and when Trump play a soundbite of him calling J6ers in jail hostages. That was a mistake. All that next. I don't care I hope he pardons him after he wins, but he can't do that crap before he wins. That's next. The line's wide open for the first time tonight. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I'm going to play for you what it's going to sound like tomorrow night when they mute the mics, because we actually have that from Fake News CNN tonight. Next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. I'll tell you what. I got the CNN mic muted thing. Let's play it real fast. This is what it sounds like.
If we go behind the podiums, you can see 2 green lights. When they're on, they signal to the candidate his microphone is on. When the green lights are off, they signal to the candidate his microphone is off. Now I want to give you a sense of what it will look like for viewers at home if a candidate whose microphone is off interrupts a candidate whose microphone is on. So I'm standing at one podium, and I'll ask Phil to come in and take the other podium. And so let's say I'm answering a question. My light is is green and I'm speaking. Phil's microphone is off and his green lights are not illuminated. He's going to interrupt me as I'm speaking, and this is what it will sound like. My volume remains constant, while Phil's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Now, let's try the opposite. My microphone is now on. Victor's microphone is off, and he's going to interrupt me. My volume remains constant, while Victor's interruption can be difficult to understand. Now, CNN's production team has shared this demonstration with the campaigns earlier today, and we're sharing it with you, our viewers, so everyone fully understands how tomorrow night will work. Now, we should note, by agreeing to participate in this debate, both campaigns and candidates have also agreed to abide by these rules. The CNN presidential debate airs live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
All right, there you go. You're going to look like a fool if you try to talk and talk and talk more. Stop and just look at the opponent and move on. React facially maybe, but that's it. Ben and Anna, you are on. Let me say this again. What do you got, WBAP? We have different ways we answer now. I'm getting used to it. Hello.
Hey, thanks, Chris, for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Hey, Trump absolutely possesses the abilities to be that presidential calm speaker. I attended a Bill O'Reilly, Donald Trump history tour event in Florida.
I remember that, yeah.
He did 2 in Florida. He did 2 in Texas.
Yep.
And when asked by O'Reilly, hey, describe Joe Biden, he simply said, Joe Biden is a man that is not on top of his game, and left it at that.
Just not what? What'd you say?
He said Joe Biden is a man not on top of his game.
Yeah, that's it.
There was no shredding, no bombastic. And so I was able to listen to highlights from all 4 events. It was the same Donald Trump, the same calm, cool, collected Donald Trump. And I absolutely was shocked then when then he started having rallies and went back to the old Donald Trump. So he absolutely can do that. He totally can.
But
matter of fact,
he will ruin himself if he doesn't, right? Tomorrow night.
Well, I mean, he's made it this far with being so public.
Yeah, but he's made it this far with the. But if he wants to win the rest, he's got to play the game right. I do think not sell himself out of the ring. I got to roll, Ben, but I appreciate your call, sir. Okay.
Thanks.
News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. All right, if Trump gets nasty, or if he interrupts, he loses. I think we've established that tonight as we're talking about this. If Trump gets nasty, interrupts, he loses. And so my questions for you are, do you want Trump to try to rattle Joe Biden's cage tomorrow night? At this very moment, the debate will have just about ended, and you and I will be reacting. I want you to follow me, too, on Twitter right now, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrok. And that's how you and I will be jumping back and forth together throughout the night. And wait a minute. Wait. Trump is on the tarmac. And apparently he is. All I know is that on fake news CNN I see tonight, right now, Stacey Abrams responds to GOP saying she's an election denier. Yes! 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 That's exactly right. The failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate went down like the Hindenburg, and she is an election denier. I love that. That's great. That's beautiful. They dragged the loser out tonight to put her on fake news CNN for her to moan and complain about losing in Georgia and being an election denier. That is so awesome. Yes! Oh, I love that headline. I could be laughing all night long. Okay. I guess it showed Trump in Atlanta on a tarmac, so I don't know if he already arrived. I suppose maybe you'd want to do that. That way you can rest for the night. I don't know, man. I was thinking about that, how wild, this is something you can't be tired for. Well, you better not be tired for, right? You don't want to be sick for, all sorts of stuff. And if you are sick, you just got to be like, hey, I'm sick, but I don't care. I'm still doing the debate. Nobody's going to want to change this, so here I am. It's fine. whatever. But it's crazy, isn't it? This is such a big deal. Okay. How should Trump handle Jake Tapper perhaps playing video of January 6th and officers getting attacked and calling J6ers in jail hostages? Should Joe Biden bring up convicted felon January 6th insurrection? He will. And what should Trump's response be? When he says convicted felon, Trump's response should be, in my humble opinion, it should be, Joe, your son's a convicted felon, and he quite possibly could be a double convicted felon coming up soon with tax evasion, because the laptop that you said was fake, you orchestrated through Antony Blinken, one of your top campaign personnel. He organized a campaign for the 51 former intelligence agencies and helped write that letter and gathered everybody to sign it. And then you pointed to it 2 weeks later when you knew it was actually a real laptop, which is why the Justice Department used this as evidence to convict your son, and we'll use it again to convict your son quite possibly in California. And Joe, you're on there as the big guy, and you got 10% for the big guy, which is on that email on Hunter's laptop. So I think you owe the American people an apology. And I think you should be careful of who you're talking about, convicted felon. But listen, what matters to me is not that. What matters to me is this economy, the wars all over this country, the wars all over this world that have broken out under your watch, the Afghanistan withdrawal, the weakness you project on the world stage, China eating our lunch. It's a disgrace. You've been rewarding Tehran by giving them billions of dollars and letting them pump all this oil while you shut our spigots down. Joe, I'm going to open up oil production, throttle it way back to the highest level it's ever been, and I'm going to get our energy prices low. I'm going to refill the strategic petroleum reserve that you keep bailing out for your political needs, which is not what it's for. It's for an emergency. And I'm going to get this economy back to 1.4% inflation, which it was the day I left, not 9.1 or 9.6, which you had that. And you lie and you say the first day that you took off, it was 9.1. That was you, Joe. You did that a year and a half into your tenure. So I'm going to take everything you've done, and with the wide open border and 10 million illegals and people murdering our girls in Houston and our sweet little 12-year-old girls in Houston, violent, hardened criminals and gang members that you've let in, killing our daughters in Georgia, our daughters and our mothers in Maryland, and raping our 13-year-old girls in New York and our 12-year-old girls in Houston. And Joe, we're going to deport them all. You have hurt this country so badly, Joe, I'm going to put it back on the map. Now that might be a little over the allotted time, but that kind of stuff, he can do that. But if he gets personal and he gets all nasty, he will lose. And you can't put the genie back in the bottle tomorrow night if he does that. So how likely do you think Trump is to win the election this November? And what does he need to do tomorrow night to make sure it happens? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Now, this is from the Wall Street Journal editorial. I think it was one of the editorial board giving him advice and pieces of wisdom. Trump said he could mix it up. He should be tough and he should be nasty and just say you're the worst president in history, or I should be nice and calm, or should I be nice and calm and let him speak? Oh, that's when he was at a rally the other day and he said that. He said, should I be tough and nasty, or should I be nice and calm and let him speak? And half the crowd cheered, be nice and calm, the other half tough and nasty. So what will he be? It's okay to be tough and nasty a little bit, but you gotta be calm and let him speak to hang himself. That's how you're gonna win. Also, you have Kamala. Excuse me. There we go. Kamala. She invoked against Joe Biden in the debate 2 deceased segregationist senators that he lionized, and his decades-long political career makes him vulnerable, and Trump should do the same thing on Biden's first term. That's what then Paul Ryan did when he was debating against Biden as vice presidential candidate for at that time for Senator Hussein Obama and Romney, his running mate, right? So you bring up his record and you attack the record. That's what you do, like Kamala did, like Cackling Kamala did. What else? Well, this is From the Wall Street Journal, the debate and his VP pick are watersheds for Trump. One trap for Trump, the Journal says, is grievance politics. Biden, aided by CNN hosts, will try to goad Trump by focusing on the January 6th riot, his felony conviction in New York, and his claims the election was stolen. Biden wants the election to be about Trump. I'll say it again. Biden wants the election to be about Trump rather than a referendum on his own dismal record. And that's what Trump's got to do, make it all about Biden's records. Rioters who fought with police being called hostages, they'll bring that up. Trump's got to say, you know what? I'm not here to talk about that. That was a bad day. I'm here to talk about what I'm going to do to make this country go forward. Jake Tapper will roll that riot tape, they say, and ask Trump if he'll pardon the J6ers. He'll say, you know what? I'm not concerned about that right now. What I'm concerned about is taking this country in the right direction. Joe's been destroying it. Extended vote riffs on Hunter are not going to move swing voters. And I agree. Hunter, you just make the points I made quickly, briefly, and you move on. What's your advice? What do you want to see Trump do tomorrow night? 800-288-W. Once it happens, it can't go back. So let's talk about it more. 800-288-WBAP. 800-288-9227. Okay. Coming up next, we're going to talk about this. You ready? Should Trump seek to dominate the situation, quote unquote, which is one of the many things people were saying in their thoughts today in the media, the press, all the articles I was reading. Should Trump seek to dominate the situation, or should he not seek to actually dominate? I'll tell you what I think about that. And, we got some more great stuff to share that there's so many things I haven't shared with you yet. CNN. Are they going to fact check Trump during the debate? Are they actually going to fact check him? I have an answer to that, a direct one. And how about the millions of dollars that the DNC has done to fund all of this lawfare against Trump? The E. Jean Carroll case, did they fund it? The case in New York City, did they fund that one? There's so many things I'm going to share with you on that coming up next from an exclusive Daily Caller investigation. That's next on the Chris Crock Show News Talk 820 WBAP. Lines wide open for you to chime in on this. 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. We cannot overstate how important tomorrow night is. I'm not trying to be some hypist, whatever, etc. Or sensations. I'm just telling you that's the truth. We cannot underestimate how big of a deal tomorrow night is. I do agree with the pundits who have said that tomorrow night is when a lot of people who have not been tuning in at all are going to tune in. And whether it's to gather people around like it's a football game and to have drinking games, during the debate, or to stuff their face with popcorn and laugh at it, for good, for worse, or for sheer entertainment. And a lot of people who have not been paying attention, that don't pay attention to the minutia or even to most details, are going to see stuff and they're going to react to stuff. Trump's job tomorrow night is to expose the bad policies and the bad effects that Joe Biden has had on this country for almost 4 years now, and to compare it to his 4 years prior to this Joe's presidency, and then also to then tell folks what he'll do in 6 months for them on inflation, gas prices, home energy prices, regulations, insurance, prices for auto, home, and home, and for inflation, for their taxes, for their raises. His no more taxing on tips. He's literally got to say that clearly, gently, or whatever, strongly, or whatever, several times throughout the evening when it's appropriate. He also must say several times throughout the evening that he left this country with 1.4% inflation, and that Biden took it to 9.1 or 9.6, whatever it was, in a year and a half, and that Joe Biden has allowed in 5 million plus more illegals than Trump did in all 4 terms he allowed in, and he's still got 6 more months, and he's allowing in millions and millions more. He's got to focus on all the illegals that are murdering our girls in Houston, in raping and murdering in Houston. It's believed, according to the prosecutors and the police, they're waiting on the test kit. And the same thing with the rape in the 13-year-old girl in New York, the mother in Maryland, and Laken Riley's murder in Georgia, and There's two rapes from Haitians. Joe flew into this country. And by the way, the 10 million isn't even including all the direct flights, the hundreds of, like 400,000, I think, a year or something like that, direct flights from these other countries directly into this country. Like the two Haitian illegals that Joe flew in directly, of those 400,000 or 500,000 a year, two of them he flew directly in, raped. One raped in Boston, raped a developmentally disabled adult woman, and one raped a child, like a 15-year-old child in Massachusetts. So, Joe, this is all you. You do this, and your Homeland Secretary your DHS Secretary Mayorkas yesterday had a press conference to try to absolve you, and everybody knows it's fake. This is your policies. This is your doing. There are ISIS people. There are 8 ISIS people running wild from Tajikistan that you let in. Joe, there's 400 illegals you let in and you approved that are all being hunted down because they were smuggled in by ISIS people, and they're from Tajikistan and other Stan countries that are neighbor and are around Afghanistan that support terrorism. The same people that are ISIS-K that murdered 345 people in the Moscow City Hall, Joe, they're coming to kill us, and you're letting them in here, and they're already here, and we have to round them up. You have let them in, Joe. You have put this American people at risk. I will protect them, and I will stop this, and I will deport every one of the illegals you brought in that are raping our daughters, murdering our daughters, and planning to kill Americans like they did, because ISIS-K is here and you brought him here. ISIS-K is stronger than ever because you abandoned Afghanistan, and all those people hanging on the plane, Joe, you were a failure and you patted yourself on the back. Joe, that never would have happened. None of that was in my plan. That was you, Joe. I was going to keep Bagram Air Force Base and keep all those ISIS and Al-Qaeda locked up. You freed them, and 2 days later, one of the ISIS that you freed came and blew up our men and women and killed 13 of our men and women. You did that, Joe, and the world knows it, and my country knows it, and your country knows it, and everybody watching knows it. You are a failure, and you say you did great. It was a success. Joe, you can keep telling yourself it's success, but you're going to do it from outside of the presidency, because I'm coming in. I'm going to establish order in the world, on the world theater with wars. I'm going to end them all and show the strength that we have so that we will stay safe and not have a war. And I will get this economy back together, and I will deport all these illegals and stop this border from being porous. They'll all be kicked out of here. And all this is over the day I take office, Joe. You're done. Stuff like that. But not, freaking, not looking at him and pointing at him the whole time. Sure, you got to make eye contact and this and that, and look at the camera and this and that too. But anyways, he knows how to play the game. But the question is, will he be able to control himself? Will he be able to hold it? I don't know, and I hope so. Voters across the country, Fox News says, have said they're interested in hearing the candidates talk about the economy, immigration, foreign policy, reproductive rights, and more. And so I beg of you, Trump, do that. Talk about what you'll do for the economy, immigration, foreign policy, reproductive rights, and more. And for us on reproductive rights, it's saying I'm not going to try to pass some national ban. They have to scare you into that. I have said publicly over and over again that there's no question these states are going to decide for themselves. That's freedom. And if you live in a state that wants abortion up to the day of, I'm rabidly against that, but that's what you'll do. And Joe, I have one more question for you when you respond. Joe, when should abortion be legal up to? The day of birth? A week before birth? A month before birth? When should abortion be illegal, Joe? You got to give a specific date, and Joe, you won't. And the reason why you won't is because yours is so late. Whether it's the day of birth, whether it's the day before, a week before, a month before, you will never give the date you think an abortion is too much and should be stopped because you don't want to. And I'm the opposite, Joe. I have a date. It's 15 weeks or whatever it is he says, and that's it. And you want more? You gotta have a state that does that, not me. Ain't gonna happen. So you gotta scare people. You gotta make up stuff to scare people. You're scaring people, Joe. I'm leading people to a better life. You're leading them to scaring them and chaos and doom to try to scare people away from me, Joe. And people know what 4 years was like under me. And they want more. The polls show it, and the people want it. I'm gonna give them that. Boom. Stuff like that. Turn it on them. All right. Oh, we got 30 seconds. Here's a few more things that Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, the tomorrow night's fake news CNN debaters, or we call it moderators, have said about Trump, suggesting Trump tried to kill democracy, ordering CNN's control room not to cover Trump live. That's Jake Tapper. Refused to cover Trump live due to potentially dangerous content. You got to put foam corner covers on the corners of tables so that you don't hit your head when Trump's the president. Right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're putting these rubber foam covers around these sharp corners. You can hurt yourself. We don't trust you around these sharp corners. All right. There's a bunch more, but I'll sprinkle that out throughout the night tomorrow night, I guess. Right now, we're going to move on to the biggest story of the day. If it wasn't for this debate, the border. We have in amazing news on 400 illegals that were brought in by ISIS-affiliated human smugglers. And there's so many terrorists that Joe Biden is bringing into this country. NBC News had a blockbuster report. I'll give you the details. You hear the audio from it. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.